average person has put on anywhere between 19 and 29 pounds over this pandemic. That's a pandemic in and of itself. We developed a product that really focuses on sugar cravings, which seems to be in everything these days, like the corn syrups, but it helps with those sugar cravings. It also helps reduce the absorption of the sugar in your small intestine and your digestive tract.
Welcome to the Miracle Plant Podcast, the show that inspires, promotes, and gives you a daily dose of inspiration from the people who have used cannabis to change their lives in extraordinary ways. Here's your host, Justin Benton.
Welcome to the Miracle Plant Podcast, where we discuss this miracle plant with extraordinary powers that has helped people in so many amazing ways. Today, we're going to talk about why we're called to serve and why we're called to help and reach over 1 billion people by 2025 with the power of this miracle plant. Today, we've got Dan's son, Jamie, joining us to co-produce, and my mom, Janet. And we're going to talk about what are the reasons why we're called to serve and why are we so passionate about this miracle plant. Many people have heard our story, and if you haven't, briefly, my son was born, and he was a healthy, happy kid, and all of a sudden, we got a severe regressive diagnosis that he had developed severe autism, which is a neurological ailment where the brain doesn't work the way it's supposed to. It doesn't detoxify. The neurotransmitters aren't firing correctly. Essentially, it makes kids kind of go in their own little bubble. And so in our search to clear the fog for him, we worked and found, all types of, herbal medicines and plant-based diets and all types of things to clean up his diet and nutrition and supplements. And we were able to make some progress to kind of reteach him some of the things that he had lost. And his body was starting to make some progress, but he certainly wasn't back to the way he was before. And in that conquest, that journey, we were able to come across some research that there was this plant out there that was helping children with epilepsy and seizures with incredible results. So when I found out about this plant, I figured it was the best thing I had going, and we did all of our research. We tried a bunch of products. We didn't get the immediate results we were after, but we didn't give up because it just made too much sense. If it could help kids with neurological ailments like seizures, then it has to be able to help my son clear his brain. And so as we did more research, we found that there's actually no one on the market was truly presenting the plant in its truest form, which is raw, organic, whole plant, just like if you were making celery juice or orange juice. So we grew some hemp down in Southern California, made a real simple cold press extraction, and wouldn't you know, he was at a pumpkin patch one day, had a miserable experience, tantruming, hands over the ears, total overwhelm, while other kids are out picking pumpkins. And we gave him this miracle plant in its raw, whole plant form. And within 2 minutes, he snapped out of his tantrum. And that was our aha moment that we finally had found the thing that we were looking for to get our son back to us. And so with that, we started a real small organization just to help other families that didn't have hope and give them hope, give them education, access to products that would actually help or give the bodies of their loved ones the best chance to find recovery or to live a happy and normal life. And in that process of having just a little store that we started way back when, we started finding more and more people that came to us. And they came to us with very complex ailments like rheumatoid arthritis, neuropathy, fibromyalgia, cancer. And we started seeing incredible recoveries. And this miracle plant was kind of like taking the red pill at the Matrix, or for us oldies but goodies, at Alice in Wonderland. And it was something that opened up their eyes and their minds and their hearts that they could take control of their own health again by the decisions that they make, whether it be by eating healthy or drinking plenty of water or exercising or being mindful or figuring out how to get a good night's sleep. These are the holistic pillars of how one can take control of their own health. So we set it on a mission that we were going to reach 1 billion people, be it by video, by seeds, by products, by any way possible, by 2025, to share these stories, these miracle stories of what this miracle plant can do. And that's how this podcast got started. So Today we're talking about this, and I just wanted to let everyone know why we're called to serve, because of what this plant has done for our family, and because of what we've seen it do for so many other families. This is what my purpose is. This is what our mission is to continue to educate, to teach, and to let people understand and have access to this product for free, even to see just for themselves the power of this miracle plant. So, with that being said, I would like to introduce my mom, Janet Benton Gaillard, who's been on before, and let her, weigh in on her 2 cents, if you will.
And I've been with the organization since the beginning. Again, too, I was pretty shocked when my grandson suddenly went into a severe regression from a bright little 2-year-old reading and writing at age 2 into really no words and an IQ too low to measure, and all the neurological symptoms that you see with severe autism in terms of just not comfortable anywhere, crying, screaming, hands over head, not able to participate. Really sad things like it was his birthday and he started just screaming and crying when we sang happy birthday because that was too much for him. Or we had a jumping house for the kids, but we had to wait till they all went home before he'd do it. So and then also he would run away. He just wasn't aware of danger. And so it made a dramatic change in our life. But mainly we were just so worried about this little lost guy that just couldn't connect with us and just seemed to be trapped in his own world. And so like Justin mentioned, we did a lot of work with diet. I'm an integrative nutritionist and a developmental educational psychologist, and I've done holistic healing all my life. And so I was trying all the basic things of the plant-based diet and organic only, so there's no more Roundup back in his brain. And, probiotics, prebiotics, all the different types of supplements. And his parents, too, were trying anything they could read about anywhere. And we also worked with him. I worked with him 1-to-1, 4 hours a day. We had BIs come in the house to work with him. And after all of that, 2 years of that just intense, totally doing everything we could think of, he had made progress into what I call the robot boy. And you see that a lot with what they call ABA therapy, whether he can sit here and do this on a schedule for this reward. But it did not really address the neurological issues of the anxiety and the being lost and not connecting. And so that's when Justin had talked about the whole idea of the seizures, because it's also neurological. And so, again, too, being holistic in our approaches, then it had to be the raw organic and use the whole plant. So you get that entourage or synergy effect. And it was very amazing. Once he started it, you started seeing some more calmness and anxiety being reduced, which is the first thing, which just made us happy. But we had no idea the journey he would go on. And by the time he was started kindergarten, he no longer had any diagnoses, was in a regular classroom, didn't need support. He had some transition of we were available if the teacher needed help. But by October, she said, I don't really, he's fine. And so again, too, now he's finished second grade last June, got the award for top student in his class. Academically, he's now in third grade, learned to surf this summer. And Justin's biggest thrill, I know, is he used to play t-ball with him or just catch and things with him, and now he's out on a real live active baseball team. So again, too, that journey, which you sum up in a few minutes, was actually years worth of journeying. And so we also have data. I kept data on that. So we actually have published in a peer-reviewed medical journal about what we did and how we turned out. And so again, too, one of our main missions to reaching people around the world is also with autism. As many parents think that there's no hope, that you can train their kids or have them reach certain levels, but give them hope that you can actually see amazing results in what the plant does. And again, too, we always focus on CBDA, and that is the form the plant makes. It's the most prolific cannabinoid in the hemp plant. And then the hemp plant itself and cannabis plant are unique, and they're the only plants out there that our body literally has receptors just for them, called the endocannabinoid system. And beyond that, the CBDA goes beyond that endocannabinoid system to every cell in the body, countless receptors in the body. That's why it gets the power that's stronger. So the CBDA is 10 to 100, and in some cases like nausea and things, it's 1,000 times more powerful than CBD or THC in addressing issues. And so we followed the research, and for once the research matched our holistic approach, with keeping it natural and raw, and really honoring what we call the miracle plant. So again, too, that was the start of our journey. And so part of our outreach, too, is we're available. I do free half-hour Zoom calls I talked to someone in Bolivia this week and someone in Croatia last week. And a lot of it's spreading through the autism community, but also through other types of communities. And so I'll put a quick pitch in for myself. If you want to set up an appointment, just go to askjanet.org. And then you can get a link to a scheduling program to schedule your half hour. But again, too, I totally agree with Justin. You know, I changed my life, moved to California to focus on this. He totally changed his life from his financial business. And his wife totally also had her own SEO company. And we've done nothing but focus as a family on just getting the hope out and the benefits of this miracle plant. And there's just nothing else out there. As a holistic healer for decades, there's all kinds of herbs you can take, and they have some antioxidant or anti-inflammatory or different properties, but none of them come anywhere near the strength of the CBDA. I mean, for instance, the CBDA balances our immune system, which is literally inflammation versus anti-inflammatory. And then that inflammation is the basis of all of our pain. It's the basis of all of our autoimmune diseases. And so the fact that it is so powerful and works throughout the body, I just feel like I wish we had a bigger platform or somehow to get the word out that CBDA is different and more powerful, because so many people try a CBD or an isolate or different types and they say, oh, this doesn't work, and they give up on this plant. And so one of our huge missions is to make people realize the raw whole plant CBDA is different. And so part of our mission, besides realizing there's an option besides pharmaceuticals or different things people do, or people just give up and think I'm just going to have to live with this. And so our huge part of our mission is to explain how this plant is different, explain how the raw CBDA is different, and then offer people hope. And so I'm very proud of my son Justin for just basically giving up the good life or whatever to focus on helping others. And so we truly passionately believe in what we do. And we always ask people, if it's successful you do, please pass it on to somebody else so that we can help them also.
Absolutely. Well, well put, well put. And I know we have a conference coming up in LA. This podcast will be coming out a couple days before it. So if you're in the Southern California area, the CBD West Expo will be in LA on Thursday and Friday that week. So coming up, I believe that's September 30th, 29th, and the 1st of October. And we'll be unveiling some new products. We've got a new product out there called Trim X, which hasn't officially been released yet, but we're excited to get people to try it and see how this new product can help people. In this day and age, the average person has put on anywhere between 19 and 29 pounds over this pandemic. That's a pandemic in and of itself, just people's health in general. So we developed a product that really focuses on sugar cravings, which seems to be in everything these days, and even the processed refined sugars, like the corn syrups. But it helps with those sugar cravings. And it also helps if you happen to eat some sugar or something that's not necessarily good for you with those fake sugars and what have you. It also helps reduce the absorption of the sugar in your small intestine and your digestive tract. So it's we were called for that one because I just noticed and saw that there were so many people that are not in as good a shape as they were 18 months ago. So we'll be unveiling this Trim X product that at the show, and we'll also be putting it on our website. And for those of you that are, loyal fans and raving fans, we'll be making sure to give you an opportunity to try that as well. Did you want to comment anything more on the Trim X there?
Yes, I am very, very excited about this. And so besides the fact that we tend to eat more junk food that we could get delivered for free or whatever in the pandemic, I believe it's somewhere between 40 to 45% of Americans are considered clinically obese. And as you know, when you are that overweight, it also means by the way, your digestive system isn't working well. But it leads to all kinds of other issues with high blood pressure and diabetes and type 1 and type 2 diabetes, and then knee surgeries and hip surgeries because you're carrying too much weight. And then you're more at risk of COVID if you're obese. And so it's a huge health crisis. And people often think, oh, it's just my lack of willpower, and blame themselves and also get depressed over it. But it truly is, if you're eating unhealthy foods, especially refined carbohydrates and sugars and things, your body is just kind of tricked into craving them. And that craving is very, very strong. And I know a lot of people have particular cravings like at bedtime, as we're kind of slowing down our day and our cycle is slowing down for the day, or just when you get into a restaurant and that pie is sitting there, you just can't resist it. And so that's a huge reason why we came out with the Trim X, because again, too, we have so many people that come in with a wide variety of health issues on up to 20 medications and aren't getting better. And a lot of it just goes back to you just cannot, our bodies were not meant to carry so much weight. And so, and then the sugars and refined carbohydrates that they make so addictive are a big problem. And so it very much helps, also helps balance the ingredients in the Trim X, besides the CBDA, that's a homeostasis or balancer, like of your blood sugar. The added herbs in the Trim X also add to that. And then there's also a problem called metabolic syndrome, where they've kind of thrown together things like type 2 diabetes and being overweight. And usually you start with your stomach is getting kind of bigger than you'd wish it to be. And so it's a whole cluster of symptoms. And there's really good research on the products we're using in there that it helps with metabolic syndrome, and people that were taking the different supplements we've added were losing weight in their waists, and we're again doing much better. There's a pharmaceutical called metformin, and they actually got the idea of that for type 2 diabetes by looking at the herbs, and then made their pharmaceutical type. But again, too, it's very important, and we totally believe, in the holistic honor the plants that are here on the earth, and so we've added in 2 of the herbal substances that are very well researched and documented to help with that craving. We had fun too. We have sent it out to people and actually doing testing on it, and we're finding simple things like people take it and the craving for that late night bunch of chocolate or candy or whatever has gone away. We've had people who have they don't have type 2 diabetes, but again, when they eat sugar, they get, upset or kind of depressed, or they fall asleep or whatever. So obviously their blood sugar is being affected. And we're finding when they take it before they eat sugar, again, too, they're staying more balanced. And my favorite person was a person who actually drank some alcohol and ate some cake and things that she wasn't used to eating. And she was expecting a huge hangover and feeling terrible in the morning. So she took the product after she got home and was just thrilled in the morning that she didn't have all the side effects of too much alcohol, which is also very sugar based, and the actual cake and things. So again, too, we're just bringing this out to the market and introducing it at the show in LA, the CBD Expo West, I think it might be called. But anyway, so no, it's really a novel product, and we work with like doctors and chiropractors and different types of professionals who carry our products in their offices. And I was mentioning it to one of them, and they say, "Oh, send me 100 bottles a week." Pretty much 80% of the people that come into my clinic being overweight is one of their issues, and being able to resist sugars and overly processed carbohydrates is at the base of that. So we're very excited. And then the CBDA properties themselves help. Again, too, it's balancing them. It's getting rid of, if they have too much inflammation, it's an antioxidant. And so it's really nice. It blends together all the properties it has with the properties we've added. So we're super excited about addressing one of our nation's biggest issues, really.
Yeah, and we're really excited. Last time that we actually were at the CBD West, it was in San Diego, 2 months before the whole world was paused, if you will. And we had a great time there, and there was an award that we won for the best tincture. And we had a new flavor that we had released back then, blueberry. And so this is the first expo that we've attended since then, and we'll be submitting our newest flavor, blackberry cobbler, which seems to be everybody's favorite. And I've got a pretty good feeling we're going to win an award for that one as well. So we'll be submitting that in to Celeste and the team down there at CBD West Expo. So very excited to continue to offer the absolute unparalleled top shelf products that really work for people. And again, we're mission-based here. This plant was the miracle, the answer to our prayers for our family, for my son. And we've seen it affect so many other families. And we're just here to pay it forward however we can. And it's really just getting access to this product, and whether it be through education or products or videos or seeds that you can grow in the backyard. We really are called to serve, and we're called to just educate people, because there's just a lot of confusion about cannabis and hemp and marijuana and THC and drug tests and will I get high and all these types of questions that we get all the time. And so there's a lot of work to be done, and we've come a long way. Some new challenges have come up, as that's just life. As more people are familiar with CBD, some people will think CBD is like eggs at the grocery store or gasoline at the gas pump, where eggs are eggs and gasoline's gasoline. Well, that's just not true. And in fact, if you go to the gasoline station, you can see that there's 3 different octanes. And then there's also racing fuel, which is 100 octane, that you have to go to very special racetracks or special places to get. I'm a bit of an amateur race car driver, racer, so... But, and that's really what ours is. It's, 100 octane fuel just burns at a higher level, and it's more pure. And that's the same thing with our products. It's all gasoline isn't made the same. All CBD isn't made the same. The reason why our products are so powerful and people are always blown away is because we literally capture the entire essence, the entire potential of the plant when you essentially juice it, which is what we do. No one else has figured that out, and more people are starting to figure out CBDA, and they're still trying to do isolates or use MCT oil or do all these other things, whereas all we're doing is honoring the plant by essentially juicing it with cold extraction, leaving it as a carrier oil with hemp seed oil, organic cold-pressed hemp seed oil. So basically, it's the closest thing to growing some beautiful hemp in your backyard and then running it through your Omega juicer in the morning, like we do every morning for our family to this date. So that's really the difference with our products. We are called to serve. We are here to pay it forward. We are mission-based. We know what we're talking about. We're experts. We're published. We're we continue to align and work with people like Dr. Raphael Mechoulam, like Dr. Ethan Russo. We have studies and research projects that we've kicked off. And we just want to continue to educate and teach people about this miracle plant and all that it can do for people. So that's why I wanted to pop in today. I'm actually at Funnel Hacking Live out here in Orlando, Florida, which is this incredible business conference that is very mission-driven as well. And they teach people how to set up funnels so people can find them and how they can help serve their clients. And that's what we're all about here. And so I thought I'd come on today and talk a little bit about why we're called to serve. Obviously, we talked about our new products coming out, Trim X, and the Cbd West Expo out in LA. So if you're around Southern California and you're hearing this live, well, we'll be there Thursday, Friday, down there at the, I think it's the LAX Doubletree, I want to say. But you can find it just by Googling Cbd West Expo. So any final comments before I wrap up there, Mom?
Yes, again, we're so excited to be able to even have the podcast to help get the word out. I often make the comment that I'm like Cindy Lou Who in Horton Hears a Who, which is a tiny little girl on a tiny little dandelion puff in a tiny little world trying to get her mission out. And we don't have like the money like Snoop Dogg or different people that are already, famous and for their CBD products. And they have all the marketing money, massive amounts of money. And so we're just trying to, person by person, podcast by podcast, trying to get the word out that we have a unique product, that it's safe and effective. We created it for my grandson when he was tiny, and he still takes it 3 times a day. And so we are just trying so hard to tell people there is a CBDA that is done best and better, and it's cheaper to make CBD and heat it in big mass quantities and things. And so we're trying to get the word out. This is a unique product that truly can help and just spread the word. And I'll say one more time, if you have questions and if you have a complicated issue and you want to know what to do, just go to askjanet.org and set up an appointment. I just really enjoy talking to people and following up and answering the wide questions, because often it's answering those questions like, well, how much do I take and how often do I take it and which one do I choose and how does it work with my particular issue? Once people understand those things, they have much higher success rate other than just like taking it and say, I took 5 drops and it didn't work or something. And so along with getting the word out of what it is, how it's unique, it's also important to know how to take it the best way so you get the highest absorption and the best effects. So again, too, I'm super excited. Again, too, Heal the World is the motto of our company. And so we truly, truly are out trying to reach the world, to get the word out there that there is something that works, is something that's safe, something that's made by nature, something our body is sitting there with receptors waiting for. And so I can't tell you how passionate we all are and how hard we all work every day to try to heal the world, literally.
Absolutely. And at the end of every show, we say heal the world, and we'll do that here in a second. But if you're touched by this, or something's come across your mind where you think someone could, be helped by hearing this podcast, please forward this podcast, share this podcast, rate this podcast. These are all the things that will help more and more people find this podcast, The Miracle Plant. And so with no further ado, at the end of every podcast, we say heal the world, because that truly is our mission, to reach 1 billion people by 2025 through education, seeds, products, you name it. Even if it's just a conversation in line at the grocery store, we want people to understand that there is a better way, there is a healthy way for people to feel good, to get into balance, and to take control of their health. So on the count of 3, we say heal the world. So unmute your mics. In those down there in the audience, feel free to tag along. We just say heal the world on the count of 3, because we're sending out that energy and letting everyone know what our mission's all about here. So on the count of 3, let's say heal the world. 1, 2, 3. Heal the world! All right, everybody. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for listening to the Miracle Plan podcast. We really appreciate you. If you have any questions, please reach out to us. If you want to be a guest and share your story, please reach out to us. And until next week, we'll see you at the Miracle Plan podcast. Have a great week. Be kind to one another, and keep sharing your stories, because it really helps. The ripple effect. Take care, and we'll see you next week at 10 a.m. on Saturday, Pacific time on Clubhouse. All right, everybody, take care.